How now shall we live? Who took Katy away? Normally it would be a very happy thing for parents to take their children to Disneyland, but this father and his daughter's trip to Disneyland was not so easy. Dave and his wife are devout Christians. Their daughter Katy grew up in the church and was baptized as a Christian with tears in her eyes at the age of 9. But as their daughter entered adolescence, Dave and his wife found that Katy had a problem. They found marijuana in Katy's wallet. They noticed that their daughter was becoming more and more disgusted with religious beliefs and even refused to attend high school fellowship and Sunday worship. Dave and his wife decided to let Dave go to Disneyland with Katy. They expected to take the opportunity to relax the relationship with their daughter and understand her problem. But this trip made Dave feel the biggest frustration in his life. After they came out of the Natural Exhibition Hall at Disneyland, Dave decided to have a serious talk with Katy about faith, but was mocked by his daughter. Look at all the people around us. Who believes what you believe? Life evolved, as we saw in the Disney nature exhibits and learned in school. Scientists have also confirmed this. They have produced living substances in test tubes in the laboratory. This is chemistry, do you understand? I believe in science, and you believe in religion. Why make a fuss about what I believe, and why force me to accept what you believe? Daughter Katy's series of questions were like a boxer's combination of punches, which made Dave unable to resist, and he could only hold his head and sigh. He could feel that a powerful force was taking his daughter away from him, and he was helpless. It took only 6 years for a girl who grew up in a Christian family to be baptized as a little Christian at the age of 9 with great enthusiasm, and to attack her father's faith in the name of science at the age of 15. What was the force that swept Katy away? It is not difficult to see from Katy's questioning that what allowed Katy to defeat her father was the so-called power of science, and Darwin's theory of evolution was a cornerstone of the scientific temple in Katy's mind. In 1831, a British Royal Navy research ship named HMS Beagle set out on a 5-year voyage around the world. On board was a 22-year-old young man who was studying theology at Cambridge University. He joined the expedition on the recommendation of his teacher, naturalist John Stevens Henslow. This young theology student who had the potential to become a pastor was Darwin. This voyage had a decisive impact on Darwin's academic career, especially his experiences in South America and the Galapagos Islands, which allowed him to observe the geographical distribution and morphological differences of different biological species. After the voyage, Darwin spent years organizing his notes and specimens, gradually forming the concept of evolution by natural selection. In 1842, Darwin first drafted his theory of evolution. Because he knew that the theory of evolution was in opposition to the dominant creationism at the time, he was worried that it would cause huge controversy, so he did not publish it for a long time. In 1858, Alfred Russel Wallace independently proposed a similar theory of evolution, which prompted Darwin to speed up his publishing process. In 1859, Darwin published his masterpiece on the origin of species, which systematically expounded that natural selection is the main mechanism of biological evolution. Darwin considered the evolution of organisms as a natural law. All species are produced naturally according to the law of evolution without the intervention of any supernatural power. Therefore, the origin of life has nothing to do with God, and even the origin of the entire universe has nothing to do with God. Therefore, once anyone accepts the theory of evolution, they will inevitably deny the theory of creation and then deny the existence of God. This is exactly what happened to the girl Katy. The Apostle Paul said in Romans 1 verse 20, "For since the creation of the world God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. So they are without excuse." Darwin, as a theology student, must have been familiar with this passage. However, during his 5-year global survey, he personally saw a huge number of what has been made, but he failed to see God's eternal power and divine nature from them. Instead, he went to the opposite side and proposed a set of theories that fundamentally denied the necessity of God's existence. Why did this happen? In fact, Darwin's theory of evolution did not come out of thin air, but was built on the basis of previous scientific theories. The ideas of the scholars below had an important influence on him. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck was a famous French naturalist in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. He proposed the Lamarckian theory of evolution, which states that species gradually change through traits inherited from generation to generation. He believed that organisms can pass on traits learned in life to their offspring, such as giraffes gradually stretching their necks to eat leaves high up. Although Darwin disagreed with this explanation, Lamarck's evolutionary ideas provided inspiration for Darwin's exploration of species change. In 1798, British economist Thomas Malthus published an essay on the principle of population, which pointed out that when population growth exceeds food supply, nature will control population through disease, war, and famine. This idea made Darwin aware of the concept of survival competition and inspired his natural selection mechanism. That is, in an environment with limited resources, the fittest survive and the weak are eliminated. Georges Cuvier was a French paleontologist and anatomist who discovered the extinction of species through his study of fossils, a very revolutionary idea at the time. He proposed the catastrophism theory, which states that species on Earth become extinct in major catastrophes and are replaced by new species. Although Darwin did not agree with the catastrophism theory, Cuvier's concept of extinction made Darwin think further about the change and evolution of species. British geologist Charles Lyell was an advocate of the theory of gradualism. In his Principles of Geology, he proposed that the Earth's landforms were formed through slow and continuous natural processes, such as erosion and sedimentation. Lyell's theory of gradualism made Darwin believe that biological evolution could also be a slow and gradual process rather than a sudden big change. Lyell's theory influenced Darwin's understanding of timescale and evolution rate. Thus, some of the ideas related to the theory of evolution already existed and had a profound impact on the young Darwin's worldview. Many of Darwin's ideas about evolution were formed during his personal observations and research during the Beagle expedition. This circumnavigation provided Darwin with the opportunity to directly encounter a variety of organisms and ecosystems, especially in South America and the Galapagos Islands. In the Galapagos Islands, Darwin observed that similar species living on each island had slight differences in morphology. For example, the shape of the beak of the Galapagos finch varied significantly between islands, leading him to speculate that these birds may have come from a common ancestor, but they had undergone adaptive changes due to different environments. This observation provided the basis for Darwin's theory of evolution that species change with changes in the environment. Darwin saw the rise of the Andes Mountains in South America and the distribution of coastal fossils, and realized that there might be a connection between geological changes and biological evolution. He speculated that as the Earth slowly changed, organisms were also evolving to adapt to these changes. Darwin observed that farmers and breeders could significantly change the characteristics of species within a few generations by selecting specific animals or plants for breeding. For example, the domestication and cultivation of poultry, horses, vegetables, etc. all demonstrated the power of this artificial selection. Darwin realized that if humans could change species through selection, then there should be some similar selection mechanism in nature. This was the prototype of his concept of natural selection. Darwin combined the theories of his predecessors and his own observations to gradually form the concept of natural selection. Darwin inferred that individuals in nature have certain variations at birth, and some of these variations are more conducive to the survival and reproduction of individuals in their environment. Those individuals with favorable variations are more likely to survive and pass their characteristics to their offspring, while individuals with unfavorable variations may be eliminated. After countless generations of accumulation, species will gradually change, thus forming new species. Darwin's theory of evolution has a profound connection with ancient Greek naturalistic philosophy. Naturalistic philosophy advocates that all phenomena in the world, including the origin and development of life, can be explained by natural laws without resorting to supernatural or mysterious forces. Darwin's theory of evolution, especially the theory of natural selection, attempts to explain that the diversity and complexity of life are produced through natural processes rather than supernatural intervention, providing biological support for naturalistic philosophy. It is the naturalistic worldview that determines that even if Darwin is familiar with Romans 1 verse 20 and sees countless what has been made, he will not see God's eternal power and divine nature from them. More than 160 years have passed since Darwin published The Origin of Species. Despite constant doubts, the theory of evolution still dominates science and related education, and continues to exert a huge influence on all aspects of human society. In contrast, the creationism held by the Christian faith has been marginalized and has little influence. This reality has forced many Christian families to face the challenges that Dad Dave has encountered. On the school test questionnaire about origin of Earth, the boy Tim wrote, "God created it." As a result, his teacher deducted him 20 points. The ladies in the church urged Tim's mother to bring the Bible to the school to debate with the teacher. Charles Colson immediately stopped them when he learned about it. He thought Tim's teacher would easily fight back and say, "That is religion, I teach science." Christians should not use religion to oppose science, but use better science to oppose bad science. It is not easy to oppose bad science with better science. The church has already been defeated in the battlefield of science and public education, and almost all positions and fortresses are controlled by naturalists. So it is not difficult to understand why Christian children, once they enter the public education system, are likely to be taken away by theories and trends based on naturalism, just like what happened to the girl Katy. Dad Dave was soberly aware that the only way to win his daughter back was to rush into the battlefield of science and fight back bad science with better science. He made this oath to his daughter, "Look, if Christianity is true, then it's not my belief or your mother's belief. It's the truth about reality, about what is ultimately real. And somehow I am going to find the facts that will show you it's true." Thank you for watching this video. The topic in the video is from Chapter 5 of Charles Colson's Golden Award-winning book, How Now Shall We Live? Links to some of Charles Colson's books are listed below the video. May God bless you.